Hey, welcome back to Physio Scout, and I am here with Physio Sam.
G'day.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. A bit of a boring week today in terms of the international break, obviously. So we've only got a few injuries, but we will have some further talking points, and there will be a post later on backing this up instead of, in the case of statistics, that is. On the muscle fatigue injuries that are climbing and starting from this stage and onwards. So moving on, we've got Ryan Gravenberch, hamstring tightness, and we might as well talk about Konaté in the same instance. So Konaté also had a right quad injury, and he was initially included in the French squad. But he did have a little bit of quad tightness in the Liverpool match, and Gravenberch also had some hamstring injury, a hamstring injury, but it looked more so tightness. How would you sort of describe the muscle influx injuries? Well, how would you describe the influx of muscle injuries more recently, and will it increase over the December period?
Yeah, I think you could even say that it's unfortunately going to increase as time goes on with FIFA adding more games, as we've talked about before. But usually around this Christmas period, we see them playing potentially every 2 to 3 days. It can be quite a packed schedule, particularly in the Premier League where they're obviously playing all the cups as well. So it's very tricky for players to be able to manage their bodies across the time. They're probably not doing a ton of gym stuff or anything like that. It's literally a recovery in between as best you can. We know there's obviously going to be individual variance between what people can tolerate, how they move and all those types of things. And unfortunately with muscle injuries, due to the game load and all that sort of thing, they're actually at a heightened risk anyway, purely based on that.
Yeah. And there will be data supporting this as well. We can see around, if we do have midweek games, that is where the players are sort of more susceptible. Their ground reaction forces increase, right? Their eccentric braking also gets worse. So all of these muscle injuries, they are more susceptible towards. So it's unfortunate, but it is something that we should expect. And Ben Dinnery, who's a guy that does injury reports, did report an increase last year of 50% in terms of muscular injuries throughout that October to December period. So it's inevitable, and we are starting to see the start of it, right? But yeah, so let's move on. Let's talk more so on Enzo Fernandez, right? It shouldn't be too much of a problem here, but right knee synovitis. So he had to withdraw from Argentinian duty due to synovial inflammation, and this shouldn't be too much of an issue, would you say? Like, it's more so a rest, reload, or sort of precautionary to take him out. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think when we're dealing with that sort of inflammatory sort of response within the knee, the main thing that his medical staff and the physios will be trying to do is settle that down as quickly as possible. Depends why that's stemming in the knee, we won't know that. But really it's going to be anti-inflammatory management. You know, they've got doctors on hand, so I'm sure if it's really in desperation, they might get some fluid drawn from the knee and that type of thing just to try and speed up recovery. It's not a specific injury per se. He might have had something in the past that's brought this on, and now it's just about making his knee as quiet as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it is quite precautionary, and Chelsea have probably just played their hand in terms of the future games coming forward. Dan Burn, quite an interesting one. I honestly didn't even see this come up till I had a little bit of a search for injuries. He felt a crack during play, right, in Newcastle's last match. However, he still got included for the England squad. How is this possible?
Yeah, I suppose with these types of injuries, it's not like he's weight bearing on his hands, right? He's obviously a further risk of injury if it's already compromised anyway. Depending again on their schedule, they might look at him and go, well, if we're not looking at surgery to repair this and it's going to be conservative management, then let's try and get him out there as best we can, and we'll just offer some sort of protection around the hand if possible. There are obviously restrictions on the things that they can do with that, playing in the Premier League and hitting other players and that type of thing accidentally. So yeah, it's a bit of a risky one, but it would have been calculated. So he's pretty pivotal for Newcastle, so they've kept him out there, I think.
Yep, and they would have access to hand therapists and all those sort of specialists that he'll need in order to mobilise that joint, especially during play as well. So you can find a lot of these injuries that can help manage and just play through. And typically we usually see around that metacarpal region that gets injured, right? So it does heal quicker than maybe further down the hand. So they can definitely play through it with the splint being available. So a few other ones, they're more so, I'd say, not too much to worry about. Ollie Watkins, he had a tibial contusion, so the mechanism of this was him just trying to score and hit his leg towards the post, right? Would you say it's more of a pain management issue here and do you think that could settle within a week?
Yeah, it depends on the severity of it, I think. When we look at contusions, it also depends on the area where he's actually impacted. We wouldn't want that bone to not be able to heal and settle down because there's a potential risk of some structural integrity issues with that if it was severe enough, of course. Usually they would sort of weigh that up in terms of how much force is going to be going through that particular area and whether he can handle it or not. And as you said, you're right, pain is the main sort of thing that they're using to drive that, in conjunction with potential imaging that will do with him as well across time.
Absolutely, it was a nasty one, but if pain management is controlled, right, he should be available for Aston Villa's next match. Ødegaard, again, all of these are pretty much straightforward now. Ødegaard, as we've talked about prior, he's going to be expected back mid-November after his MCL injury, which we did talk about, and it's now confirmed it's a grade 2 injury. Endo had a hamstring complaint, and he is back into Liverpool training camp. But again, it's more so a tightness issue. And we had Alisson Becker, who obviously we've talked about, hamstring injury as well. I guess on him, he is spotted back at the training ground now, but he is going to be back after the November international break, so around the mid-November mark. He's been spotted in training. What are the sorts of stuff he would be doing at this point in time to be ready, let's say 4 to 6 weeks' time?
Yeah, so they might try and keep his conditioning up with, simple jogging and stuff that isn't high hamstring rate of force development requirements. Obviously, his mechanism was sprinting, so they're not going to get him doing that at this stage. But the quicker that they can get him doing conditioning on the field and on his feet, the better off he'll be. He may even be able to do some sort of close quarter goalkeeper stuff to keep the hand-eye coordination there. He's pretty good at that, to be fair, so he might not need too much training. But it'll be all the things, the sort of maximum amount that they can push him at this period of time is what they'll be trying to do.
And a common question we usually get is, because they've been spotted in the training ground, this doesn't mean that they'll be faster in their recovery. Is that correct?
Yeah, they have to respect the time frames of healing, obviously. They might have certain other ways that they can speed that up a little bit with access to the medical facilities that they have. But really, we're just trying to let the body do its thing and make sure that the healing occurs so that they can then be conditioned to play again.
Absolutely. And a player like him who's had recurrent hamstring issues, it's probably going to be longer as opposed to quicker. So that's one to look forward to, but unfortunately that probably won't be speeding up. And just the last one, we have Reece James, who had a minor issue, but the club is confident that he'll be fit for Nottingham Forest. So that rounds up the international break injuries. Thanks for your input, Sam.
Pleasure.
Anything that you want to say to wrap up the potty?
No, not so much. Just let's hope there's a ton more injuries
for
not Chelsea players.
Yeah, hopefully, but not hopefully. But we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. And check out Sam's page. Physio Sam on Instagram.
Physio Sam, yeah.
All right.
Cheers.
We'll catch you later.